And at 8 o'clock newscast. Brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters. Coming up in news on this Monday morning, Clinton school students get back to the classroom this week. Local authorities have some reminders as those kids return to the class this week. Also coming up this morning, a big event in Decatur hosted by the Decatur Area Arts Council is right around the corner. And we've got information from Social Security regarding payments to children after the death of a parent. But first, news streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Clinton streets in and around the area of school buildings in town are sure to see an uptick of activity starting this week. Clinton students return to the classrooms on Wednesday, and local authorities are promoting safety. School Resource Officer Cody Mayer says no matter where you are in the community, be on alert for kids on sidewalks and streets getting to school.
Well, starting to think about safety of our children, people driving, our children walking, however they're getting transported to school on the buses, those things. So really starting to worry about and trying to kind of address those issues, making sure people are being safe around our children. We ask no matter where you're at in the city that you are paying attention. You're not on your phone while you're driving. You're scanning, making sure there's not kids, because they can hide behind vehicles, pop out anywhere. But especially once you get to those areas that are closer to the school, if you don't have to go down that road, maybe find a different route. You know, people complain about Illini Drive. Well, I can't get through there in the morning to get to work or whatever. Well, it might be quicker just to take another route than to go down those highly traveled areas in those mornings. You know, another one was East Washington Street in front of Douglas School. Have a lot of people that could probably take a different route, and then they end up getting frustrated and then just passing school buses with stop arms out. If it's possible to take another route, it may even be quicker for you.
Illini Drive, where you have the junior high school and Clinton Elementary School, become very congested before and after school. Officer Mayer reminds of the recommended routes in and out of your destination those mornings and afternoons.
Yeah, so the big thing is those areas that the school is asked, especially Illini Drive, like that they do it a certain way. What the school asks is if you're going to CES to drop off, you come in from the south, from Kleeman Drive. If you're going to the junior high, you come in from the north up by McDonald's. And when you do that, you keep everybody on the same side. They're not trying to cross paths. The unfortunate thing is I get complaints about it all the time. And it's not illegal for them to come from the north and try to turn into CS. They're legally waiting to pull into a drive. But we do ask that you do what the school asks, because it makes it better, it makes it safer, it makes it move more smoothly.
For the engineering, you know, that has been a challenge. I'm not going to say a problem, but that has been a challenge for us ever since Clinton Elementary School was constructed there. And as Cody mentioned, you know, coming from the south to CES, from the north to the junior high, that's creating a right-hand turn into the school that you're attempting to get to. You know, and that way, when it is backed up on Illini Drive, those people can move all the way over to the right. There's not a turn lane on Illini Drive, but you can pass on the left. Technically, it is illegal to pass on the right. So when we have that congestion coming from the north, trying to make a left-hand turn into CES, and those people are driving halfway up on the sidewalk to pass on the right, that is not only unsafe, but it's illegal. What we've done, I mean, over the years, through the different administrations, more meetings than I can count, of things that we could do to try to improve this, working with the infrastructure that we have. What can we do to improve that? And I do think that it was a significant improvement if people will follow that advice and come from those respective directions.
That's Clinton Police Chief Ben Lowers, who adds it can take a good 2 weeks for everyone to get used to the traffic patterns around school zones.
It never fails. The first couple weeks of school are always a challenge because you've got 4 grades at Clinton Elementary School, or whichever school they're going to. But in every school, you've got at least one grade. It's that student and that parent's first experience going to that school. So we kind of have to get the second grade students and parents trained that are coming to CES for the first time. It takes a little bit of time just for everybody to figure out, you know what, I need to leave 5 minutes earlier tomorrow. And maybe if I get there at this time, or maybe if I wait till this time. It amazes me the people that show up at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to pick up their student.
Yes.
That gets dismissed at 3:15 just so they can be first in line. Well, you waited an hour and 15 minutes to be third in line. And quite frankly, at 3:25, 10 minutes after dismissal, you can drive right to the front door and be done. I can say that because my children have also attended these schools, so I have been that parent. So I do feel like I have the right to voice that opinion, not only as a police officer and helping with the public safety aspect of it, but also as a former parent of those students. So.
With the first day of school right around the corner, we've got much more coming this week with Officer Mayer and Chief Flowers on those back to school safety reminders here on Regional Radio. Still to come this morning on the WHOW Morning Show in our newscast today, 2.7 million children receive Social Security, and more than half of those children get benefits after the death of a parent. We've got details with Jack Myers at Social Security on that still to come here for this morning. Stay with us on the other side of 7:30's Look at SRN News. We've got to look at local sports as well. Central A&M last year had a lot of adversity within its football program, including the injury bug bit pretty hard. Coach Brent Weekly and his Raiders look to rebound after a tough 4-5 season where Central A&M uncharacteristically missed the postseason. That story's in sports on the other side of 7:30. There's a big event coming to Decatur hosted by the Decatur Area Arts Council. The Arts in Central Park is September 20th through 22nd, says Executive Director Jerry Johnson. The craft fair is put on by the Decatur Area Arts Council and Gallery 510, and those who agree to purchase art over the weekend are allowed entry into the VIP preview party.
Arts in Central Park is an annual juried fine arts show that we host with our partners Gallery 510 here in Decatur each year. It's always the third weekend of September. So this year it is Friday the 20th of September and then Saturday 21st and 22nd. And Friday is usually special kickoff evening where people who have agreed to purchase art, we call it our VIP preview party. The people who have agreed to purchase arts at some point during the weekend are invited to come down and get a first-hand look in advance of much of the artwork that's going to be there in the park on Saturday and Sunday. And then we have some refreshments and some music for those folks on Friday night. And then the main event itself, with all the booths and the art, is Saturday, September 21st from 10 to 5, and Sunday, September 22nd, 10 to 4.
Johnson says it takes a lot of hands to put this event on, and there are plenty of places to help through volunteering or corporate sponsorship.
Well, we have a variety of things that volunteers can help with. We have a hospitality room in our building where we offer refreshments and whatnot for our artists, so we need somebody to help manage that. We have an information booth throughout the hours of the art fair there in the park, so people to help answer questions and give out information. We'll also have a little beer wagon there and selling beer, so helps to have people there to pour the beer. We have a children's art shop in the transfer house, and we need people to help manage the kids and the sale of some of that artwork. And then we also have the need to what we call artist relief. So if an artist needs to take a break, we have volunteers that come and just sit in their tent and say, the artist had to step away, they'll be back in a few minutes, come on back if you find something that you're interested in. So there's a little bit of everything. And then, of course, we need people to help set up and then put everything away before the event starts and when the event is over. And then, of course, if you're a business out there, sponsorships are always something to help us. Mm-hmm. You and I have talked in the past that the Arts Council doesn't get any kind of tax levy. We are a not-for-profit organization that is funded almost entirely by the generosity of local folks, individuals, sponsors. That's why the fundraiser events are often very important to us, that just help pay our staff and keep the doors open so that we can keep doing what we're doing.
Johnson emphasized the importance of getting involved with the Decatur Area Arts Council. You can volunteer, or they are always in need of new members for the board of directors. He says they're looking for well-connected people in the community with a passion for the arts.
They can go to our website, decaturarts.org, and find Arts in Central Park on our website. And then there should be a link to an online sign-up form called Sign Up Genius that will allow them to choose what they want to help with. They can contact me directly here at the Arts Council if they're interested in possibly serving on the board. We can always use people who are connected in the community and have an interest in the arts to serve on our board. We just had a few board members who'd been on our board for 3 terms, 3 years apiece, so they'd they've been helping us for the last 9 years, and they've completed their service, and we're looking for 2 or 3 more board members to fill those spots. So people who are interested in, like I said, if you are connected in the community and you have an interest in the arts, we might be able to fit you into our board of directors. And then volunteer-wise, just anybody who's looking to make a difference, come on down. Help us out.
Once again, the event is September 20th through the 22nd. If you're interested in helping out, find out more at decaturarts.org. About 2.7 million children receive Social Security, and more than half of those children get benefits after the death of a parent who worked and paid Social Security taxes. Jack Myers with Social Security says in some cases, the child's surviving parent is eligible for benefits as well. The death of a parent can have negative health, financial, and educational effects on children, and when tragedy happens, Social Security can help.
This is definitely something that is important to talk about, and it's important for workers to know that, their family members would be taken care of if something happened to them. Right now, there are about 2.7 million children who receive Social Security, and over half of those children get benefits after the death of a parent who worked and paid Social Security taxes. And then in some cases, the child's surviving parent is also going to be eligible for benefits. So, that's going to depend on if that surviving parent is working and the age, or whether or not the child is disabled. But, obviously when a parent passes away, there are a lot of negative effects that can have on a child and a family. There's financial impact, physical impact, educational impact, emotional. We can't help with all of that, but at least we can help in most cases with the financial side of it. The benefits that children can receive on the record of a deceased spouse are very valuable.
According to Myers, Social Security estimates survivor's insurance, the equivalent to a life insurance policy with a face value of $930,000 for a younger worker with an average earnings who leaves behind a spouse and 2 children.
Based on some estimates that have been done, we estimate that Social Security survivor insurance is equivalent to a life insurance policy with a face value of $930,000 for a younger worker with average earnings who leaves behind a spouse and 2 children. So that's really a big deal. And I think it's an important thing to point out for young families especially. As you're doing your financial planning, go into that My Social Security account that we've been talking about. Take a look at what your children would be eligible for if you passed away, because you can see that you're already paying your Social Security taxes and you're earning that benefit for those children. So it might help you to know what they're eligible for if something happens to you. It might help you feel like you can take some of that money you were going to spend on life insurance and put it elsewhere. So again, not trying to be an insurance agent or talk anybody out of anything, but I just think it's an important piece of information to have as a parent if you're looking through and doing some kind of long-term planning for your children. And then, of course, if you know a child, if you're a caretaker for a child whose parent has passed away, you should be contacting us, because there could be something payable to those children that would really help with the cost of raising them and taking care of them, because we all know it's not cheap to raise children these days.
Myers explains Social Security bases the monthly benefit on the earnings of a deceased parent. The average surviving child benefit is more than $1,000 a month. Additionally, they pay benefits until the child turns 18 or 19 if the child is a full-time student in high school.
We're going to base the monthly benefit amount on the earnings of the deceased parent, so it's going to be different from family to family. But right now, the average surviving child benefit is over $1,000 a month. So, we're talking about, in a lot of cases, some pretty significant money here, especially if there are multiple children. Mm-hmm. We're going to pay these benefits to the child until they turn 18, or potentially up until age 19 if the child is still a full-time student in high school. Mm-hmm. And children that would qualify would be biological child, potentially a stepchild if the deceased was providing at least one half financial support at the time of their death, or an adopted child would be eligible as well. So, in some cases, the parents may also qualify, and that's going to be, for a child who's under the age of 16, or if they're an adult child with a disability that began prior to age 22. Now, if that parent wants to receive benefit as well, there's going to be an earnings limit that pertains to them. Earnings limit would pertain to the child as well, but they're far less likely to be working at a level that would exceed that limit. So just some of those things to keep in mind.
Myers indicates the application for the survivor's insurance is not online, so you'll need to call, and you can call Social Security at 800-772-1213 to schedule an appointment. To learn more or about the survivor's benefits and parents' guardians, visit ssa.gov. 24 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday morning. Coming up after the break, the Democratic National Convention is in Chicago this week. Governor J.B. Pritzker will speak on Tuesday at the convention. The Illinois Fertilizer and Chemical Association has some tips for that fall application, and we've got an update on that farm bill from one of Illinois' Congress women on the committee. That's those stories coming up in news.
Still time for summer savings at Baum Chevrolet Buick. This is Scott Baum. Our goal is to make your purchase decision easy. That's why we have our prices posted on each and every car. For August, see our summer savings posted on each Chevrolet car, truck, SUV, crossover, and EV, especially the sporty Trailblazer and the all-new Chevy Trax. As always, our Silverados are in stock and ready to work for you. Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton and Farmer City, right from the start.
News time is 25 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Monday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. The Democratic National Convention is in Chicago this week. Governor J.B. Pritzker is looking forward to tens of thousands of people coming to the city as Democrats rally behind nominee Vice President Kamala Harris.
I just want to be a good host. I want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to show off what a great state we are and make sure that we get launched into the fall in the right way so we elect Democrats up and down the ticket.
Governor Pritzker will speak to a primetime audience at the convention on Tuesday. As the fall fertilizer season approaches, KJ Johnson with the Illinois Fertilizer and Chemical Association has an update on the RFD radio network from last week.
I think supply is all in pretty good shape right now. I think the biggest question we are hearing from farmers and retailers is the phosphates. They're compared to other prices out there on fertilizer, it is a little bit higher, and I think some guys are watching to see what that happens if there's a price drop in that. But the potash is in pretty good supply, and nitrogen. I think everybody's just kind of seeing where that nitrogen price is going to be. I don't think there's anybody out there right now that is throwing out a fall ammonia price to bid out, but at least we're hearing supplies are in good shape. But if we're hearing any concerns, not on supply, it's just where the price is at on phosphates right now. I think retailers and farmers are kind of seeing, is there a price drop in that? Do we put on this fall, or do we wait till next spring to put on?
What are some of the other conversations maybe you're hearing from retailers or that farmer producer out there?
I mean, everybody knows commodity prices have dropped. I mean, I farm and I've watched it, and I think the retailers are conscious of where that, what's that look like? How does that go forward? I definitely think with the commodity prices, there is going to be a drop in the fall fertilizer sales. But where does that go to? Do guys just cut back on that, or are they pushing to spring? I think those are the real conversations farmers and retailers are having right now of, just the supply. What needs to be in the bins? Are guys rolling the dice to see, hey, we're not going to put on this fall. We're going to see what prices rise and then see what fertilizer prices do in spring. I think those are the major conversations that are having. And there's real hard conversations. I mean, people are going to have really sharp pencils this year, and it's going to probably have to have a sharper pencil going into 25. So I think those conversations aren't going to be the funnest conversations, but those conversations are going to have to be had.
You can learn more about the Illinois Fertilizer and Chemical Association at ifca.com. Common ground on looking for another extension of the 2023 Farm Bill as a September 30th deadline approaches. Democratic Illinois Congresswoman Nikki Budzinski was a no vote during the Republican-led House Ag Committee markup of a new farm bill last May, but she does find some common ground.
Well, I think we agree on a lot of things. Let me first say that. I think the things we agree on, things like investments in agricultural research, I was really glad to see in the House version that they did double our trade promotion programs that I know are really important to our farmers. But it is some of the bigger sticky wicket items like conservation, making sure that conservation dollars are going to be used for conservation and they're not going to be siphoned away for reference prices for our southern commodity farms.
Illinois has 4 other members on the House Ag Committee, Republicans Mike Bost and Mary Miller, and Democrats Jonathan Jackson and Eric Sorensen. Coverage of news this morning is brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and the morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube. Brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Coming up on 7:30, we continue our fall sports preview with Central A&M football in the spotlight next.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason. This is the Democrats' big week. Their national convention opens today in Chicago. Pro-Palestinian protesters expected to make a lot of noise outside the gathering. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says it now is the time to finalize a ceasefire hostage release deal for Gaza. He's in Tel Aviv now, meeting with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and other high-ranking Israeli officials. Tomorrow, he'll travel to Egypt. 1 person killed, 7 others wounded. A mass shooting last night in Baltimore. The city's police commissioner says multiple firearms were recovered at the scene. Exactly what they don't need in flood-ravaged southwestern Connecticut. Forecasters say some more rain could fall today. Yesterday, some places got up to 10 inches of rain, unleashing devastating flash flooding. Wall Street Dow features up 9 points. NASDAQ features ahead 22. More details at srnnews.com.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Sometimes the health of a high school football team can make or break a season. For Central A&M, that was the tale of the 2023 fall football season. Coach Brent Weekly says his team battled through quite a bit of adversity last year, but he credits his team for never giving up on the season.
Yeah, I mean, we played a really good Leroy team. They finished the year 8-1. We lost to them in one possession game, and then, we battled our way through it. And lost to Drew Damery, our quarterback. He was our quarterback the year we went to the semifinals in 21 and sophomore, and he got banged up twice, and finally he got another concussion, and that shut him down for the final time. And we get to throw a freshman out there, and we were a lot of older guys on the team, but it seemed like every one of them was banged up, dinged up at some point in time, and it's kind of caught up with us, not having having that bunch of seniors and then a bunch of young guys. And kind of puts us in that situation where we were scrambling a lot week in and week out. It provided us an opportunity to create some depth for this year. It was a tough year. We finished strong, beat Meridian and Illini West in last second fashion. Said quarterback Emmett Singer led us on a 1 minute 40-second drive and went 65 yards and threw the game-winning touchdown with 10 seconds to go. So it kind of put us in a great way to finish that year with a bunch of guys who went through a whole bunch with all the accidents and the deaths and injuries and all that, kind of send them out on their own way and got some energy going into this offseason. The amazing thing is, and we did this a couple years ago, I can't remember when it was, and I did it once. I want to say it was my second year, so that would have been, 16? And we finally got knocked out of the postseason there in week 8. So week 9, I just said, you know what, guys, we're going to practice for 90 minutes. We're going to get in, get done what we got to get done, rep what we got to rep, and let them be fresh. And, I didn't think anything of it, and we go out. We beat a Warrensburg team who was going to the playoffs, and they made the quarterfinals, and our kids put up 500 and some yards of offense, and it was a heck of a game to be a part of, and the kids were fresh and had fun. We talked about it as a staff, and we went back to that. Those 2 weeks, we just went 90 minutes on that Tuesday and Wednesday. Just let that go. And once we got out of the postseason, when we lost to Shelbyville, I dressed everybody, juniors through freshmen. So this group that's now got a chance to play together. We develop some leaders and that type of stuff as we went through, and we beat an undefeated Shelbyville JV team. And we had some varsity guys playing, so I'm not going to sit here and say we didn't. We did, and they did not. So that's completely the different thing, part of it. But we kept practice. It's fresh. We went no longer than 90 minutes. At the longest, it was an hour 45. And kids seemed fresh and got through it and wanted to finish it the right way, and that's a credit to them.
The Raiders will return a lot of experience up front. Coach Weekly feels that will be a huge boost for his team this year.
We got 4 returning offensive linemen and 3 returning defensive linemen as seniors. Those guys, a couple of them are 3-year starters, a couple of them are 2-year starters. Those guys we're going to lean on to keep guys motivated and let them listen to. And, of course, we have Evan Pearsall back. He's the first-team all-conference guy, a sophomore at running back for us. And then, of course, Emmett Singer, who played quarterback. He got some experience, I think, in 5 or 6 games last year due to injury and certain plays that we put in for him. Got those guys. And a guy like Ace Spinner, who's a lights-out shooter on the basketball courts, came in, and, he's worked his tail off in the weight room, wants to be better. And, guys like that could just say, hey, I want to play basketball. But, he's the type of kid, he's tough. He knows football is going to help him on the basketball court, being around his teammates and his friends. And guys like that have done a really, really good job for us, competing day in and day out in the weight room and on the practice field.
One thing Coach Weekly has learned over time is if guys up front are the guys up front are what makes your offense go. And because he's experienced up front, he likes the potential for his team this fall. Defensively, though, he notes they will be young.
We're a spread group. We like to spread you out, throw the ball to the athletes, as well as we get the opportunity to run it based on numbers. If you give us numbers or matchups or whatever, fronts or whatever, we have the ability to do that and kind of take what you give us. We found out in 2019 it doesn't matter what offense you run or what defense you run. If you're not very good up front, it doesn't matter. And try to instill that year in and year out here since I've been here. But, we were really good up front in 19. We went to state runner-up and go up against Lena, and they got 2 guys, and the 3 guys ended up going to Iowa. They were really good. So there's different, those are different type of cats you played against. And, our guys have tried to buy into the fact that, hey, we gotta be really good in the weight room, really competitive, and hopefully that'll show up on Fridays. Defense, we got a lot of young guys. I mean, I've said we got, 9 upperclassmen, and most of those guys are all lineman types. So that means you got freshmen, sophomores playing in secondary and linebacker position. And that age group get used to the speed and the physicality of the varsity football game. Is something completely different. And our kids, they're learning each and every day. We kind of cut practice into about 50, we go 3 hours, about 50% on offense and 50% on defense. And we're just trying to teach and do the best we can to get these guys as prepared as we can when we play week 1 against a really, really good Leroy team who beat us last year, who returns everybody. So doing the best we can to get them as physically ready and as mentally ready for what they're getting ready to see.
Central A&M will start its road to get back to the postseason, hosting Leroy on Friday, August 30th. In a game heard here on WHOW, Framber Valdez threw 7 sharp innings for his 8th straight win, and Yainer Diaz and Jose Altuve went deep for the Astros, who beat the White Sox 2-0.
The Sox fell to the Astros 2-0 on Sunday to fall to 30-95 on the season. Kai Busch had his best outing in his 3rd major league start, going 6 innings, giving up 4 hits, 1 run on a solo home run. Dominic Fletcher continues to make his mark on defense, including robbing this would-be 3-run home run in the first inning.
0-1 is hit in the air out into deep right. Fletcher running out of room. He'll leap, and he makes a catch. He might have taken away a home run.
The Sox offense was quiet in this one as the Astro starter Framber Valdez was on fire, giving up 3 hits in 7 innings, striking out 9. The Sox are in San Francisco for 3 starting Monday. Jonathan Cannon will be on the hill for the Sox to kick off that series. It's an 8:45 first pitch, 8 o'clock pregame, right here on the ESPN 1000 Hard Rock Casino White Sox Radio Network.
And here tonight's action right here on WHOW. Rookie Joey Leperfido homered. Bowden Francis threw 7 scoreless innings, and the Toronto Blue Jays shut out the Cubs 1-0 on Sunday. Leperfido's solo shot off Shota Imanaga in the second inning was all Toronto needed to end a 2-game skid. Chad Green, the last of 3 Blue Jays relievers, worked the 9th to secure the shutout and record his 13th save in as many chances. Imanaga allowed 4 hits, walked 1, and struck out 6 in the first 5 innings. It was his first loss since June 21st, a span of 9 starts. Cubs right-hander Javier Assad starts a 3-game series against the visiting Tigers on Tuesday night. Shohei Ohtani hit his National League leading 39th home run. Clayton Kershaw tossed 6 shutout innings to lead the LA Dodgers to a 2-1 victory over the St. Louis Cardinals on Sunday. Miguel Rojas and Gavin Lux had 3 hits apiece as the NL West leaders won for the 7th time in 10 games. Lars Nootbaar provided a pinch hit homer in the 8th for the Cardinals, who have lost 6 of 7. Ohtani drilled a first pitch offering from Sonny Gray over the wall in the 5th to break a scoreless tie. Rojas added a run-scoring single later in the inning. Kershaw allowed 4 hits and struck out 2. The 3-time Cy Young Award winner threw 70 pitches in his 5th start since undergoing surgery in November. It was the longest outing of the year by far for the lefty, who made his season debut back in July. Michael Kopech picked up his 11th save and second with the Dodgers with a scoreless 9th. He got Nolan Arenado to hit into a game-ending double play. The Dodgers took 2 of 3 in the series to finish a 4-3 road trip. They split 4 games at the NL Central leading Brewers. Gray gave up 2 runs and 7 hits in 5 innings. He struck out 6. Cardinals right-hander Eric Fetty goes against Milwaukee right-hander Frankie Montas Tuesday in St. Louis. Fetty was acquired in a 3-team trade with the White Sox on July 29th. NASCAR has suspended the Firekeepers 400 until today, running out of time Sunday to run a race that was delayed and interrupted by rain. On lap 51 of the 200-lap race, cars went to pit road to wait and see if the rain would go away in time to get at least half the race completed to make it official and avoid having it spill over into an extra day for the 2nd straight year at Michigan. The race is set to resume today at 10 o'clock Central Time. During driver introductions under dark clouds, Austin Dillon drew some boos and responded by kissing his right palm and waving to the crowd a week after wrecking Joey Logano and Denny Hamlin en route to a win at Richmond Raceway. Hamlin started on the pole after rain washed out qualifying Saturday, and precipitation delayed the start of the race, sending cars to pit road after just a few pace laps. Jet dryers did laps to remove at least some of the moisture to make racing potentially possible, but the weather did not cooperate. 2+ hours later, drivers got back in their cars, and Kyle Larson took the lead on the opening lap and kept it by going 200 miles per hour on straightaways and about 180 miles per hour in the turns. When Larson and Hamlin raced side by side on lap 36, Bubba Wallace went low and passed them both. Michael Jordan, who co-owns 2311 Racing with Hamlin, was seen smiling after Wallace made the move. A few laps later, Hamlin tried to make up ground behind Wallace, only to lose control of the car to bring out the yellow. Wallace chose to take a pit stop and gave up a chance to win 10 points for the first stage, aiming for a strategy with fuel and tires that might help him win. And Ryan Blaney took advantage, finishing first after 45 laps. There are 12 drivers with a spot secured in the playoffs, leaving 4 spots open with 3 races remaining at Michigan, Daytona, and Darlington. Drivers and teams will have a quicker turnaround following the Firekeepers 400 to qualify on Friday for the Coke Zero Sugar 400 on Saturday night in Daytona Beach, Florida. Get sports anytime from your computer or mobile device at DeWittDailyNews.com.